Chapter 13. She Doesn't Belong to You. Dex and Roma ran to the stables, mounted the same horse, and rode off together. Kaede walked to Fatia, who watched her daughter disappear on the cart. "Where? What have I done?" she asked Kaede. "You married your daughter to one of the most dangerous men I know." Kaede offered her his hand. "But we can save her. If you have powerful friends, now would be the time to call on them." In little time, Kaede put guildmates to work finding Lady Elizabeth, Regent of Eastgate. He and Fatia rode to the Imperial Clerk. At the camp of Guild Sifis, Joom rode the cart all the way to his tent. He picked up Drei again with romantic lavishness. "Hoya!" he called happily, actually smiling. "My bride has arrived, but she needs to sign her part of the document. Will you witness?" "It will be my honor, Joom," Hoya bowed. Always a toady. Drei's feet didn't touch the ground until they reached the desk. Joom laid 2 copies of the marriage document in front of her, signed by her mother, the Imperial Clerk, Joom, and a blank space for herself. "Wife?" Joom offered her the pen. Drei backed away, stunned. "No," she whispered, not believing it could be this easy. Joom's hand landed on the back of her neck. "Sign it," he commanded. Hoya stepped across the desk from her, a quiet, helpful smile on his thin lips. "Sign it, Drei. Your consent is a formality." "No." Drei tried to shake her head, but Joom's grip was too tight. He squeezed. She cried out, falling to her knees. "Sign it for me," he asked, far too calm. Drei reached for the pen, her hand shaking. This small act of submission earned a slight release of her neck. Joom reached down and stood her up. "Sign it," he encouraged. Tears fell from Drei's eyes. She leaned into the table, pen to paper. No hands were on her. She flipped the table towards Hoya and turned to run. Only 2 steps towards the door, Joom had her by the hair, then she was on the ground, her head hitting the leg of the flipped table. "Her signature is a formality. Take it to the clerk," he ordered Hoya. Drei's eyes barely opened in slits, watching Hoya leave. "It doesn't have to continue like this, Drei." Joom picked her up by the front of her shirt. She found her legs dizzily. His mouth was on hers. She gasped and his tongue darted in. She felt her shirt come off, still stunned, sick to her stomach and lost. Drei's hand came up, slapping Joom hard. He laughed into her mouth, pulling her hand behind her back. Drei cried out, helpless to Joom's hands. Outside the encampment, Dex and Roma had dismounted their horse, sneaking in close, watching carefully. Dex's stomach flipped as he watched Drei being carried into the tent, out of his view. "She's safe so long as Hoya is there. Look," Roma whispered, pointing. A faint sound of scuffle reached their ears. "Go to the Imperial Clerk. Tell them where she is," Dex ordered. "Don't go in there, Dex." Roma touched his arm. Dex shook his head in response. "Dex, attacking a guild member in their camp without cause. It could be death." Dex shot her a cold look. "But Joom can take her?" "You know that's different." Roma squeezed his arm. "Wait." Dex turned back towards the tent, wishing he could see through it, ears straining for any other sign. Then Hoya walked out, climbed into the cart, and rode away. Roma ran to the horse and rode down the lane. Dex's stomach sank. Roma rode hard, dust kicking up behind her. She caught sight of Hoya on the road, carrying the marriage papers. Aya came to mind, and suddenly the last piece of the puzzle was right in front of her. She blocked his path with the horse. "Hoya, wait!" He pulled his reins, startled. "What?" "You know what he did. You saw it." Roma's voice cracked. "I don't know what you're talking about. Out of my way!" Hoya clicked the reins, but the horses hesitated. "Think," Roma snapped. She felt his fear ripple through the reins. Of course, just as she suspected, a coward. You could be guild leader, Hoya. You could get rid of Jum. Forever. She dismounted slowly, approaching the carriage horses, soothing them with calm words. But the man was just as skittish as the animals. His nobility was a thin veil. Jum is a threat. To you, to the guild, to anyone who gets close. But I've got good news. She looked him square in the eye. Aya saw him murder Tevan. Hoya blinked. The clerk needs one more witness. That's it. One more, and Jum is gone. Exiled north. Hoya stared at the papers in his lap. A long pause. Yes. Your friend will be saved. I'll take Sifis as my own. Jum disappears to the north. A slow smile spread across his face, greed overtaking fear. I had no idea Aya saw. Roma nodded, mounted her horse, and rode beside him towards the imperial clerk. Drei felt herself coming clear, Jum's mouth still covering hers. Was she kissing back? She pushed away as fiercely as her strength would let her, her mouth open so she could breathe. He turned her from him and pushed her across the overturned table, the leg dug into her side. Her head hung off the edge and her pants came down in a rush. Drei screamed. She kicked, making contact with his leg. Jum's hand found her hair, pulling her head up. She wiggled, fighting against him, balanced only on the edge of the table. No! She screamed. Help! Dex moved like a shadow. His heart pounded, but his mind was clear. Everything sunk away except for a lifetime of training. He sidestepped into the tent, the curtains barely noticed as he passed. There was Jum, just about to take Drei, focused on his cock. Dex moved in, slicing as he went. One blow across Jum's lower leg, his tendons snapped like taut ropes. Dex didn't hear the scream. Drei stumbled away, tangled in her pants. She pulled them up, and Dex tossed her his other blade. She doesn't belong to you, Dex whispered. Go, Drei! Drei turned, moving towards the door. Jum reached for an axe that lay near his bed. Thwamp! Drei fell, screaming. The axe was deep in her thigh, her leg bent unnaturally. She landed on her side, her leg useless. Dex blinked, stunned. Jum laughed and swung at Dex. Dex dodged. Drei rolled, throwing a blade. It sank into Jum's shoulder, just enough to startle him, a scratch, but a hesitation that saved Dex. Dex retaliated with a cut to Jum's axe hand. Only when Dex's second blade came up did others rush in, too late to stop the bloodshed. He was smashed into the ground, his face pushed hard into the dirt. The tent was full. Sifis guild members were rushing to Jum's aid. Dex, thrashing against the dirt and the weight of the blows. A hand pressed his cheek into the ground. He could just see Drei. She had rolled to her back, her eyes open, lips parted, a hand reaching toward him. Drei! He called out, earning himself a kick. She stared softly, barely moving. She was so far away. He could tell. Dex fought again, rolling, pulling himself towards her. The beating continued, and suddenly all went dark. The tent burst open again. Kaede squinted against the darkness. Enough! He screamed, red-faced. The Imperial clerk stepped in. All movement ceased. Return Drei Sanos to her mother and guild. This marriage is annulled. House Sanos invoked their right of termination, due to... His eyes landed on Drei's bloodied, half-naked body. Gross abuse. Join us next time for Chapter 14, Collateral.